I'm going to call to order the first ever City of Bloomington Transportation Commission. I am Ryan Roebling, staff, and we're going to get right into the agenda, which was sent out in the packet, and Mr. Volan has it. I'll bring it up here in one moment. The first thing we need to do is go out of order. We have a member virtual, and they are currently unable to participate until we have rules, according to the state rules established that allow that member to participate. So those present will need to adopt Article 1 of the rules and procedures in order to get Mr. Flaherty able to participate in this meeting. So if someone could quickly do that,
So
I would
we can't
appreciate
even call the roll?
We can't call roll, but Mr. Flaherty won't count until the meeting starts. So
well,
we can
have a
do roll
quorum.
call. Yes, good call. Sorry. Trying to get everything right state-wise. Forgot about roll call. Okay, we'll start with Connell. Here. McKinney?
Here.
Volan?
Here.
Drummy? Here. Davis?
Here.
Stossberg?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now I will need someone to make a motion to adopt Article 1 of the rules and procedures. Thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. And then I'll call roll.
Well, wait, could we at least
Oh, yeah, sorry.
have a characterization of what the,
I'll just pull them up. Sorry. I wasn't prepared for this part of the evening, so forgive me.
you don't have them on the screen, do you? The packet? Do you have the packet on? No. I don't remember seeing a packet. It was pretty much.
Sorry about that. Okay. So in the hardest to read possible way, on the TVs behind you and small screen for some reason, I'm not sure why, is Article 1. Also, this is in the way. Great. Everything's going great. Oh, how do I make this larger? I don't know. Is there a full screen option? That's right.
Should be at the bottom.
Yeah.
You might have to hold down. If you hold down Windows and press up a little bit.
Okay, sorry about this. Okay, so Article 1 is general provisions. The big things it covers are establishing that this commission will follow Robert's Rules of Order unless dictated otherwise in other rules and or state code. It'll say that Transportation Commission shall hold meetings that corresponded to the anticipated schedule, and that this commission will coordinate with staff in order to have a schedule that meets both the staff and commission's needs. It establishes a strict 9:30 deadline unless it is unanimously approved to extend by the commission. A majority of members present will constitute quorum, which we have. It'll also require that a summary of minutes be provided, and then most importantly for this one, it will adopt IC 514.1.5, which is the open door policy, and that will allow members to participate virtually since we'll be fully in compliant with that as adopted. It'll also have rules for amending the rules in the future. So it will immediately allow us to amend rules as we see fit, or as you see fit, I should say. But but that will be you'll be able to do that at any meeting by a majority vote. So that's the big chunk of it. The most important one for this, and then we'll jump into the actual rules and procedures, which we can discuss later, is that we need to adopt the letter F, which will allow electronic communications in meetings as permitted in accordance to IC 514.1.5. So we have that moved and seconded, and I will call roll. All right, McKinney.
Yes, aye.
Bolin?
Aye.
Drummy? Aye. Davis?
Aye.
Strasburg?
Aye.
Connell? Aye. Okay, that passes 6-0, and now Commissioner Flaherty should be able to join. And we'll get him logged in as virtual for this meeting. Okay, thank you for your participation in that, and sorry it was awkward. Give me one more second and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is election of officers, but if the commission will allow a slight change of plans, we'll jump into the historical context and goals and future plans for this commission, if everyone is amenable to that. If not, I can go into officers. I'm not seeing any no's. Okay, perfect. Okay, so, is this working? Oh, no, it's doing this again. Sorry.
You're fine.
Okay. Okay, so, sorry about this. So we'll do welcomes and introductions. First and foremost, I'm going to introduce Andrew Seabor, the city engineer. He is technically the staff liaison for any regular hearings of the Transportation Commission, and I'll get into what that means later. But I believe you're all familiar with him, but I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Good evening, Commissioners. Andrew Seabor, City Engineer. Happy to be here. Happy to have all of you here. Thanks for showing interest in this commission. Thanks for bearing with us. Thank you to Planning and Transportation for helping to staff this commission. This is the first commission of the engineering department that we're responsible to manage, so there is a slight learning curve, and we're very appreciative of planning's assistance. Just as we get going, look forward to working with you and being a resource and engaging in dialogue. Thanks.
Okay, next I'll introduce Iris Bull, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Hi, Iris Bull. I'm the Administrative Assistant for Engineering, and I'm really pleased to be supporting this commission.
Most of your contact will probably be through Iris, just as a heads up. You've already received emails from them. Ryan Roebling, I think I'm familiar with all of you now. I am from Planning and Transportation. You'll see me at every meeting, but you'll get more familiar with me for steering committee meetings, which we'll have occasionally for this body, as they are the standing steering committee for any transportation-related plans and projects. I'll also mention Adam Wason is here, Director of Public Works. He's welcome to introduce himself, but you don't have to.
Adam Wason, Public Works Director, been serving for about the last 9 years. Happy to be a support agent for this commission. Public Works does a lot of the maintenance on all of the things transportation related. We'll have staff with the street division that'll be invited on a regular basis. Joe Van Devender, our Director of Street Operations, probably Freddie Love on occasion. He's our manager of, our traffic manager in the street division. So when we're talking about traffic management, and we'll bring in those experts and be here to help as well. So excited for the commission to take, to begin their work. Andrew and Ryan and David Hiddle, the planning director, and we've all been talking about this from the perspective of how can we best utilize this commission to improve transportation in the community. And I know Ryan will talk a lot about the chartering and such, but really looking forward to that opportunity to work with all of you on all of that. So thank you.
Okay, I'm going to hand it off.
Two other things I forgot. We also have Rick Kopic that is in the audience this evening. Rick will be considered by the Board of Public Works for appointment to this commission. Rick's a former city engineer, staff member and such. And then Andrew reminded me, of course, parking will be a big part of this. Parking services with the Public Works Department will utilize their expertise. We're in the middle of a master planning process with them right now, so we'll have a lot of information coming to the commission over the next several months in regards to that as well. So thank you.
Okay, for this portion, I'm going to hand it off to you all for two reasons. One, just so we're all familiar with each other. Two, or three reasons, I should say. So we get your name pronunciation correct. I'm not sure that I know most of you, so I'm pretty confident I said all of your names right, but just to make sure for future. And this commission is unique in that some of the members are direct from or appointed by various commissions. So if you could identify if you are being appointed on behalf of a commission, that would be great. Those will be relevant to future decisions that this body makes. So I'll hand it off. I'll start with Mr. Drummy because he's the closest to me.
My name is Brian Drummey. I am appointed by the Common Council. This is my first time ever serving on any commission like this. I am a partner of Owner Robinson, which is a law firm here in Bloomington. My practice area is primarily personal injury representation. I've also served as a mediator throughout the state. So I've interacted with transportation usually when things have gone wrong and helping people resolve those issues either as a mediator or as an attorney.
Is that on? Sorry. Hopefully you don't make me repeat all that, but I'm happy to if you need to. So anyway, happy to serve. Looking forward to learning more about how the city works and helping to continue to improve this place we all live.
I'm Mark Stossberg, appointed by the Plan Commission. I previously served on the Bicycle Pedestrian Safety Commission, including as president for a while, and I've also done independent spatial analysis looking at patterns of crashes and how to best address those.
I'm Steve Volan. I'm sure that the reason I'm here is because of my affiliation with the Parking Commission. I've been preaching, more attention be paid to parking as an integral part of transportation. And I'm concerned about parking not just as it's primarily was not a safety issue for us. And Parking Commission, it was an economic issue. How much do we charge? Are we making sure that spaces turn over? What is the capacity of our parking system? Do we need more or less parking? Are we thinking about parking of non-automotive vehicles as well? All those sorts of things were talked about at the commission, and I think the reason that I'm here is to make sure that we give as much time to parking as anything else as is appropriate for a transportation commission. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara McKinney. I worked for the city for 34 years in the city legal department, mainly working on human rights and human resources, but I also dealt a lot with the ADA and with parking and dealt with some transportation issues as well. So I'm pretty deep familiarity with different city departments. I'm appointed by the city council, so I forgot to say that. And I'm also somebody who mainly walks, so that's a big concern of mine. Thank you.
I'm also appointed by the city council.
Hi there, I'm Leslie Davis. I am representing, I guess, the Council for Community Accessibility. I'm the chair of the CCA. In my other life, I work as the vice president for North American partnerships for a company called Access Able that provides detailed accessibility information on the built environment. And I hope I'm here to make sure that the needs and concerns of people with disabilities are taken into consideration with everything we do.
John Connell, General Manager of Bloomington Transit. I'm appointed by the Bloomington Transit Board of Directors. I look forward to working with all of you, and I hope to bring public transportation perspectives to some of the issues. Thank you.
Mr. Flaherty, you are next.
Terrific. Thank you. Great to be joining this brand new commission with you all. I'm Matt Flaherty. I am an at-large representative on the Bloomington Common Council. I am our designated appointment to this commission and also served as our appointment to the Parking Commission, which is now no more, along with the Traffic and Bicycle Pedestrian Safety Commissions. I've been an advocate for safe and sustainable and equitable transportation most of my adult life. It's definitely part of motivating set of values and priorities in running for office initially in 2019 and in my service. So looking forward, I think the city of Bloomington's done a really great job over the past decade, especially developing strong goals and targets in these areas. And so looking forward to this commission and its ability to help drive those forward. And yeah, just looking forward to it. Thank you all. And sorry to not be joining you in person. We're on council recess and I happen to be on vacation, but I didn't want to miss this. So here I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit of background, the how we got here. As you've heard and or experienced, we had formerly 3 transportation commissions that were all in charge of various aspects of the transportation system. There was the Traffic Commission, the Bicycle Pedestrian Safety Commission, and the Parking Commission. So they were all in charge of the practical transportation matters as well as policy matters specifically for Traffic Commission and Parking Commission. So they did everything from advocate for bicycle pedestrian safety to mitigating traffic concerns and coordinating parking activities and policy updates. So the Transportation Commission was created based on the guidance received from 2 unrelated consultant reviews of our practices. The first was the Novak report, which was published in 2022. It identified that there was a large overlap between scope of these 3 commissions and that they were often a drain on staff resources. And then the thing that they pointed out, which was it essentially needed 16 people in order, or excuse me, almost 21 people in order to have enough people to have a meeting. And so the number of vacancies was causing issues where, particularly with the Traffic Commission, they failed to meet quorum for several months while they got a larger set of people to join their meetings. So that's what the Novak report identified. And then again, the Safe Streets and Roads for All Safety Action Plan, which was just recently adopted, identified that the 3 commissions created a lack of transparency, accountability, and most importantly, did not achieve, or were not actively pursuing achieving the safety goals that the city had created for itself. So that's kind of how we got here from there. But a little bit more about the challenges those commissions faced. They all did great work. We're really proud of all of them, especially Bike Ped and Parking did a lot of great work to really see some policy and infrastructure changes through the city. But 2 of the best examples for why the previous system was showing signs of weakness were the 7-line and the adoption of no right turn on reds at pedestrian-focused intersections. So the 7-line proposal featured elements that would affect motor vehicle traffic, bike ped traffic, and parking. So presentation and resolution was brought to each of the three commissions in order to seek their approval. Many of the conversations were repetitive, but worse, some of the ideas were only brought up at one of the three commissions and were not heard by the experts of the other bodies. So it led to a lack of holistic planning, consideration, and in theory could have made the project worse. We largely think the 7-line was a success. That's open for debate, but at least from our point of view, it's been a great success. The second example is the addition of no right turn on red legislation and signage. In 2001, the Bicycle Pedestrian Safety Commission heard or brought up to the city, I should say, that they would like to see no right turn on red signage at high pedestrian intersections. And it was unable to gain any traction for a number of reasons. One, the people, decision makers weren't in the room with the Bicycle Pedestrian Safety Commission. The city traffic engineer was not in that meeting. A city council member who also could have changed the rule was not in that meeting. It was being heard by the Bicycle Pedestrian Safety or Bicycle Pedestrian Coordinator, who is an entry-level position with very little gravitas in the city. So it took 22 years after that October meeting for an ordinance to be finally passed installing signage at prioritized intersections from a person who never served on the Bicycle Pedestrian Commission and had no idea that they talked about it 22 years earlier. And frankly, that we can't do that anymore. We have to prioritize safety now and make our streets and roadways safer. So, okay, so that's a bit of background. Now, for purpose, the Transportation Commission has a clearly defined purpose. Sorry, my window closed there. It's the goal or the purpose is to guide the city through a comprehensive and visionary framework which will provide adequate and safe access to all right-of-way users. So this commission will serve as a sounding board for all transportation decisions. It will also serve as a policy and project review body. That's essentially its most important responsibility. Excuse me. So the focus on all transportation decisions that this body will make will need to focus on equitable access, sustainability, the economics of transportation, and most importantly, safety. Now, you have heard safety first or safety's number one for a long time. The goal of this commission is to make sure we mean that. So keep that in mind. So the commission has 8 identified powers and duties. These include supervision of transportation-related studies, programs, plans, and projects, providing a forum for members of the public to air transportation-related testimonials, making recommendations on city transportation policies. This could mean ordinances, plan changes, plan adoptions, and recommendations on capital planning. So it's a little bit of everything, but it's actually everything because, again, the idea of this commission was to solidify that one body would review all transportation decisions. So the Transportation Commission will also have a major hand in parking policy. This can include everything from making recommendations on pricing, hours of operation, location of parking spaces, and enforcement procedures. The commission is also tasked with overseeing the completion of an annual parking report. This report will include everything from cost and revenues to utilization of parking meters and neighborhood parking zones. These reports will add the commission and These reports will add to the commission and cities in charge of parking policy to ensure that we're achieving the goals set out in the comprehensive plan and other adopted goals. So I like to think of parking as a little bit of the digestive system. It's not the thing that comes up first, but it is arguably the most important thing to keeping everything going. We might not talk about it as much as safety, which I am aware of, but it will come up probably as frequently as any other transportation decision. So you'll be seeing a lot of parking in the future, as Mr. Wason pointed out. The commission's most important duty will be to review transportation projects and propose changes to the city municipal code. What exactly that means, we're going to work on together. We spoke to most of you in private meetings just to get familiar with everyone. But we really mean this. The commission and staff have to work together in order to create the best system. We are trying to get the most out of this, and we don't know what that means, so we need your all's help. So we'll talk about that in this meeting and every meeting from now until forever about what that means. So keep that in mind for any decision. If something doesn't seem right, speak up. We're happy to make this better. So the Transportation Commission was based off the city's Plan Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. They asked a planner to do this, so a planner looked at what they knew, which is Plan Commission and BZA. So one thing that they'll do differently than almost any other commission is make decisions based on explicit criteria. Those are outlined in Title II of the Bloomington Municipal Code. These criteria are laid out with the goal of ensuring that whatever is being reviewed is working towards achieving the city's goals. The four criteria are listed here. A is consistent with the comprehensive plan and other applicable city adopted plans, is consistent with the best practices for eliminating all transportation-related fatalities and serious injuries within the city, is consistent with advancing a sustainable transportation system and equitable access to all transportation facility users while prioritizing non-automotive modes, and has adequately conducted public engagement and considered community-centric design tied to targeted outcomes. So what that means, for those who aren't familiar with how the Board of Zoning Appeals works, is for any decision that this body will vote on related to a project or a municipal code adoption or change, is they will have to make a finding that is clearly identifying that, yes, this meets A, no, this doesn't meet B, yes, this meets C, et cetera. So staff will offer proposed findings. You don't have to think that we're coming out of the blue and putting all this work on you. But if you disagree with staff's findings, then this is the time when you'll write your own findings, and we'll discuss what that means when that time comes. Actually, we'll discuss it a little later, but that's a constant conversation we'll be having. Okay, so I don't know, that was a duplicate. Okay, so staff, you met some of us today. This body also has a unique power given to it in Title II, which is that it can essentially ask any department to send a representative to help make a decision on a transportation question. So if a policy comes up and you think it involves parking matters, then we can ask that Public Works send someone from Parking Services to answer any questions that you may have. It's similar to how City Council works, where they can ask a staff member who helped write something to come to that meeting. I suspect oftentimes that staff member will already be here, but we don't always know everything. So if you need Jeff Jackson, the Transportation Demand Manager, to help make a decision, you can absolutely put something off for a month and ask him to come to the next meeting. And you can do that for anyone. Planning and engineering will be at every meeting, so you don't have to worry about that. But for everybody else, it's a little bit more based on needs. So that's a unique power that I want you to all remember. Okay, and then I talked about it a little bit. This commission is, a lot of the authority is just granted to this commission in Title II. The first is establishing its rules and procedures, which you had to adopt some already. So we'll be looking at those constantly. And then also, the commission doesn't have a set schedule. So we're going to work with you all to kind of formulate a schedule. We have a proposed one for the rest of the year, because this is a kind of wonky start to the year where you're already halfway through. And we know that we have some dates that we would like to target. So we'll work with you, but we'll get to that when we get there. I'm going to double check with my staff members that we're good on everything. Okay. Okay, so if you have any questions, now's the time. Oh yeah, there's no chair, so sorry. I'm going to have to remember to look up. Yeah, Mr. Volt.
You're the boss today.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I got a few questions. First of all, are any members of this commission eligible to be represented by proxies for whatever reason?
I don't have the exact answer to that yet. I'm going to work with legal to get the definitive answer. I believe that certain members will be based on the language of Title II.
Right, because I mean, I'm assuming that, for example, members appointed by the mayor or the council do not have that ability, but ex officio members may have that. And so I'd like to know if there's any conventional wisdom among the staff about this. But it's something we should settle before the next meeting.
Yes, I will absolutely try to have an answer before next meeting from legal.
I've got other questions, but I'm happy to defer to other members.
I don't have any.
All right. How frequently does staff expect that Title 12 or Title 15 changes will be brought to the commission for their deliberation? Or rather, maybe I should say, how many projects, on average of how many a month, maybe?
Oh, okay, slight clarifying question. Projects and municipal code amendments might be different, so.
All of the above.
Okay, so I suspect you'll see fewer municipal code amendments than anything else, but they will come up. And then projects, it depends. So part of the reason we gave this body authority to make its own schedule or work with staff to make a schedule is projects kind of come in groups. They're not evenly spaced throughout the year. So we might not have any meetings in the winter time, for example, and have a bunch in the summer when projects are triggering. And then discussing exactly what then, Andrew or Mr. Seaboard will probably want to answer this, but discussing what this body reviews and what would like to review, more importantly, is kind of up in the air. So the language is all transportation projects, but what constitutes as a transportation project that this body wants to see really depends. So I'll hand it off to Andrew or Mr. Seaboard, and he can give a better answer.
Good question. And this is a question where I think just as time goes on, as we engage and work together to figure out, like an example of a project, at what point to engage this commission. So I've got a couple notes as an example, but we have a project on West Kirkwood that we just advertised a public meeting for. So just this is a chance I want to highlight that. But we have a public meeting here in this room on June 25th from 5:30 to 6:30. So that project's already been selected. It's happening. We're going to have public engagement. At what point in a project do we come here? We sent another email out to stakeholders that live or in the vicinity of North Dunn Street. We had a public meeting on a proposed path a couple months ago. We're going to have another public meeting in a couple months, but this was an update essentially responding to the feedback we received and the direction that we're going. So when in a project development is it most appropriate to come to this commission, and to what level of detail do we engage? So certainly open to feedback, recognizing everybody's time. On Title 15, just to Traffic Commission, that was largely what the Traffic Commission looked at, and it almost seemed like every meeting there was something, but it's not all the time. So,
A follow-up question to that would be, to whom is the commission making recommendations? To staff, to plan commission, to city council? I can see all those cases being possible, but what's your expectation of to whom we're recommending?
Another great question. I think depending on the question before you, it could be to any of those entities. It could be ultimately a code update that goes to city council. It could be a decision that generally is an administrative process that we move forward as staff.
Do you assume that the the Transportation Commission, I'll get used to it, is going to be a natural step in the development process for, like, will Plan Commission expect to hear a report from the Transportation Commission before they weigh in?
Certainly on some projects, absolutely. Specifically, corridor studies and other related plans, yes. Those have to be adopted by Plan Commission, so we will bring it to this body first as it acts as a steering committee, and you'll make a recommendation to Plan Commission. We'll send that recommendation on. And then, yeah, that's another great question. Some private development questions might come here. They often did for Traffic Commission, and now this body has slightly more authority to review those, in which case we'll try to bring them here first and then bring them to Plan Commission with this body's recommendation.
Yeah, I have one question, and this may be for Andrew.
Turn on your mic.
Oh, sorry. You had mentioned reaching out to stakeholders, like for the Dunn Street project, I think you said. It would be possible when you're having that kind of discussion with stakeholders on a project that's going to come to us to let us know about those meetings as well, so we could maybe at least attend virtually and see what the public input is on that kind of thing?
Yes, absolutely. I would expect that as we have public meetings on various projects, that we've got a stakeholder list, this commission and members of it, I think would be a logical point of contact that we'd help share that with. And then at what point do we bring those projects to this commission in relation to that is something that we still need to honestly figure out.
Sure. Thank you.
Steering committee, were you referring to a particular subset of this group?
No, so Title II gives this body authority to be the standing steering committee for all future transportation-related plans. So if you're familiar, we've been working on a College and Walnut corridor study. That project has a steering committee. It was incredibly hard to fill out. And then on top of that, we had the Safe Streets and Roads for All Safety Action Plan steering committee, which further was hard to fill out. So we had like 30-something members representing two transportation projects that had a lot of overlap. It would be much easier for this body to do that in the future. And so you'll see that currently in the works, nothing's been finalized yet, but we're in the contract negotiation phase for a Rogers, Madison, Kinzer Pike corridor study. So this body will jump right into that the second we get contract approval from the Board of Public Works. So you'll be seeing some of that, what that exactly means fairly soon.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on his question, so you're saying that this commission is becoming the de facto steering committee for all such projects instead of you having to form a new steering committee for each project. Is that right?
Correct. It also, that's part of the idea is that there will be a ready-to-go steering committee, but also...
I'm sorry, say that again slower. I didn't understand you.
Yes, that's correct. Part of the idea is that this body will be a ready-to-go steering committee for whenever we jump into plans, which we expect to do more often than we had historically. It'll also it'll be a body familiar with transportation-related projects in the city so that they can steer in the way that they see fit rather than an ad hoc group trying to make it up as they go.
Thank you. I've got one more. What does staff anticipate will be sufficient advance notice for agendas and packets prepared for the commission? What is your idea of how far in advance is appropriate?
Staff we're committed to aiming for 1 week in advance for packets. However, if that is not enough, we're looking to you for guidance. So if you need more than a week, it turns out, let us know and we can aim to do better than that.
I personally was not worried about it being too long. I was worried about it being 48 hours as opposed to, 5 days is acceptable, 7 days is fine with me, but I just didn't want it to be the state minimum.
No, yeah, that's what I was aiming to correct. We historically, we're aiming for 48 hours. We're going to aim for roughly a week, not just business days, but an actual week, so Saturday and Sunday included.
I've got one more. This is a thick one. You said safety first. Can you define it?
Define safety?
Well, because we talk a lot about non-automotive uses. Can we be more specific somewhere down the road? Because I think that some people who drive cars will say, well, they made it unsafe for me to drive. And I'm not sure that is exactly the meaning behind safety first. So I wonder if staff collectively, or if you in particular, know of a more specific definition that we'll be working with.
So we do, City Council adopted a resolution, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it called for the complete elimination of fatal and serious injury crashes on city roadways within 15 years, and that was last year, so we have 14 years left. So that is what we mean by safety.
Okay.
Any project should be designed in a way that it will eliminate fatal and serious injury crashes.
Thank you. you can see how easily a phrase like that might make people might assume that it's actually what we mean when we mean is what you just said. Thank you. Can I also just say that when, for example, we started the Parking Commission 8 years ago, we didn't know who should run the place. And so we just had interim officers for a couple, 3 months while we set bylaws and figured out our agenda. And I see that that's missing. We don't really have a standing agenda yet. We not sure how we want to do business. Are we going to talk tonight about setting a schedule? But those things maybe might take I hope they don't take that long, but.
Yes, I'll say that we have to get to work right away. Our next meeting will have several items on the agenda, so we hope to have a formalized agenda. So this is a great segue, if you don't mind me taking this lead. We sent out in the packet a list of rules and procedures, of which you've adopted Article 1. So part of that is what staff is aiming to have our meetings look like. Obviously, again, this is collaborative, and we are open to discussing what that means and what that looks like. But part of that is agenda setting. So we have things that we know we have to review. Those are plans, those are resolutions, which will detail, plans. I just realized how there's two things that are plans. So infrastructure plans and planning plans. So planning plans will be in resolutions along with ordinances. Those will come up less frequently, but infrastructure plans will come up frequently. I think we have a backlog of several. I'm looking to Mr. Seaboard to confirm, but we also have some transportation inquiries, which are members of the public who would like to report to this body about safety concerns, parking concerns, what have you, and look to this body for guidance, and staff will also look to this body for guidance with those. So that's why we kind of proposed a set of rules that we think will work. They're based, again, off of Plan Commission, so you got to stop asking a planner to do jobs. But they have great rules. Their meetings run incredibly efficiently. They're out by 9:30, most meetings, unless it's something incredibly large like a full UDO rewrite. So that's kind of why we pitched those rules. And now that we've adopted Article 1, you're fully able to amend any rules, but we would like to pitch those. I don't know, I'm not pulling them up, I'm so sorry.
You would like to what?
Sorry, that was a thought. I don't know why I didn't pull them up. I'm pulling up the proposed meeting rules, which aren't where I thought they were.
Did you get a packet?
Okay, back to this incredibly hard to see document on these screens.
Did you get it?
It is. The proposed rules were hyperlinked on the agenda. So if you received the agenda notice, you click through that and scroll down a little. There should be a link to the proposed rules that will open up a new Google Doc.
Okay, more stuff's happening. We are sending it to, and yes, we'll do just that. So, yeah, while Iris is sending a link, a direct link to the proposed rules, and again, we don't have to adopt these tonight. That's not necessarily the goal. It's just to get the conversation going. Article 1, which is adopted and establishes some rules. Article 2 is officers and employees. It outlines the role of staff at these meetings. Specifically, there are two types of meetings as we've discussed. We're proposing to call them regular hearing, which will be led by the city engineer and designated engineering staff. Those will be infrastructure plans and ordinance reviews. And so those will be led by the engineering department. And then the other meetings, the steering committee meetings, are proposed to be called transportation planning meetings. So that will be when this body is acting as a steering committee. It'll be that will be run by myself and anyone from planning and transportation. Specifically, David Hiddle is identified as the secretary and meeting runner. So it also identifies that the city engineer or their designee and a member of the planning and transportation staff will appear at every meeting, and then it'll also reaffirm the rule written in Title II, which allows this body to call in any other staff that it deems fit. It'll also appoint or allow for the creation of a chair and a vice chair. So the chair, once appointed, will run the meeting as they see fit under Robert's rules and these rules and procedures. So that's Article 2. Article 3, those are regular hearings. That is the type of meeting that will be run by the engineering department. So this will be a discussion on petitions, resolutions, and transportation inquiries. It also sets forth rules for note-taking and document saving, so that we'll save it for 1 year in an easy-to-find location, and then we'll backlog it in an equally easy-to-find location, thanks to Iris Bull's dedication to making sure that everything is easy to find. It also says that any decision has to be made at this meeting or specifically continued to a future meeting within 1 month. It'll also set forth the filings. So this is a thing that's unique. Traffic Commission, Bicycle Pedestrian Safety Commission, and Parking Commission did not have formal rules for what items could be on the agenda. And so that led to haphazard agendas occasionally. Parking Commission was better at this than most, but Bike Ped was particularly susceptible to kind of just going off the rails for agenda. So this will not only create an agenda, but it'll also create the particular items that are up for review. So petitions, that's an infrastructure plan, site plan, things like that. It'll have resolutions, which are planning plans and municipal code amendments, and then transportation inquiries. If you're familiar with the Traffic Commission, they had traffic inquiries, which the original goal was to be like, hey, there's a lot of cars in my way when I drive to work. Can we make this better? Over time, it kind of shifted to I have a general transportation complaint, and then more recently, we focused on there is a specific item that is causing safety or harm to roadway users, and we would like to see that alleviated. Parking Commission had something similar in that they allowed members of the public to come and air their concerns about parking, asking for future parking changes, policy changes, neighborhood zones, things like that. So we're combining those into the transportation inquiry process. So anyone is eligible to bring that forward. Members of the public, members of the commission, petitions, which are the transportation plan or the infrastructure plans, those will generally come from staff, but occasionally outside bodies, they'll have to go through the engineering department first, so they will be reviewed. Resolutions, similar thing, but those can only come from staff and from the commission themselves. So those are changes to municipal code, changes to this body's rules. Those will come forward as a resolution, and you'll have to file that with the engineer just so that we have a formulated, predictable packet is the idea here. So, and then most importantly here, it will create a hearing format for these regular meetings in which we'll do roll call, approval of minutes, reports, and communications cases, which are the petitions and resolutions, transportation inquiries, and then general discussion and staff proposals. Those will be about future things that we expect to be on the agenda that we would like to hear your input on before they appear on an agenda, and then general public comment. It also sets forth rules on giving testimony from the public. It'll say format for hearing a petition, which is staff report, presentation by a petitioner if it's different than staff, questions for staff. It'll go back to the body to review, to ask questions or make concerns known. It'll go to public comment prior to a vote, and then it'll come back to the commission for vote. And then, yeah, so that's mostly it. And it also talks about the findings, which are very important. We'll talk about those more and more as petitions come up, but those are the 4 items that you have to find for every case to make sure that they are compliant with the comprehensive plan, acting in the best interest of safety, acting in the best interest of sustainability, and that that staff conducted adequate public outreach. And so that is that portion. Transportation planning meetings will be similar. Those meetings, those are the standing steering committee meetings, are a little bit more loosey-goosey in that they don't need to have a formalized schedule, because one thing will be on the agenda. It will often have a consultant or a staff member presenting a plan or a portion of a plan or a direction on a plan, and we'll get feedback from you. It'll be an open discussion during the presentation is the idea there. There is no, for steering committees, there is no public comment as a standing item, but it gives the authority to the commission to always change that rule. So it has public comment rules established, but it's not an item necessarily on the agenda from the get. And then maybe most importantly is Article 5, which is public comment provisions. It'll set forth some rules for public comment. There have been meetings where things go off the rails if we don't have standard rules, so we want to make sure that this body has standard rules and that we're following them. It'll also give the chair the ability to, the ability to rein things in accordance with Robert's rules. So that's the general idea. Again, I realize you didn't all get it ahead of time, so you have plenty of time to review it before next month, but I can answer any questions in the meantime.
I don't mean the one that we ask all the questions, but is there provision, so this is a duplication, really, of the Plan Commission's rules of order, or is it based on it?
I would say based on. It's an homage.
Okay. Did staff contemplate the idea that perhaps the commission might itself want to originate a resolution with a change in policy that would originate policy, or is it simply a reactive body that is only receiving cases?
Yes, you can absolutely do that within the proposed rules. Obviously, you don't.
Within the, sorry?
Within the proposed rules, there is a written idea that could happen. So this body could propose its own resolution. The idea just being that for formalized future agenda items, we could formalize that by having it go through engineering. This body would have the right to make a resolution on the fly.
So I think by Commissioner McKinney's motion and my second, these articles are on the agenda, or do we only just approve Article 1 and that's been approved?
You've only approved Article 1. I didn't want to lock you into any rules for future.
So we're going to propose the rest as the first order of business at the next meeting.
You could do that. You could do it tonight if you're comfortable, but yes, first thing next meeting would be perfectly acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I would suggest maybe adopting them tonight, and then as people have more time to review them for the next meeting, we could make amendments if necessary, I would assume.
Yes, you've adopted rules that allow you to amend them at any time now. So it would be helpful to staff to know what the future holds. Like I said, we have a lot. We've been without a commission for 6 months now, and there's a lot to review. So we would like to get going, but it's up to this body. We have.
I would just say I read them and I thought they were excellent and a good start. Yeah.
Want to make a motion?
I move we approve the draft administrative procedures and rules as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Say that in the
I'll
mic.
second.
Okay. Volan,
Yes.
Drummy,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Strasburg,
Yes.
Connell. And McKinney.
Yes.
Okay, those rules have been adopted, and so we have those rules. We'll prepare those for next month, or we'll have the docket set as proposed next month, and you'll see a lot of exciting stuff, hopefully. Which, this is another good segue, so we could adopt a chair if we want to get to that, and we now have a rule that says we should have a chair. So if anyone would like to propose that we do that, I'll give myself a quick breather and let you decide.
Nobody wants to go forward. Maybe we could be the first order of business and then consider amendments to the bylaws at the next meeting.
Perfectly okay with me. Okay, so then we get to our kind of last item, which is future agendas. So this is a draft form. I didn't send it out to you. We, mostly because we don't know yet. But I have a rough draft of what we're proposing. We've reserved this council chambers for future meetings for all of these dates. So you're not beholden to those, but those are dates when this room is available and staff is available. And commission members or council members are also mostly available. There's one date that might be a problem, but you'll see. Hold on. Okay, so there's, like I said, a couple dates on here. The next one that we would like to lock in, if you're all open to that, is the June 21st meeting. That is a Monday. Sorry. Yeah, don't come here June 21st. July 21st, which is a Monday. All of these meetings are programmed to be on a Monday. That's just when we know council chambers will be open. And you don't have to vote on this tonight or any of the other dates on this tonight. But if you would please pick a date for our second meeting, we would be ecstatic to have that second meeting.
Can I just poll the members to ask?
Yeah, of course.
Is the third Monday of the month a date that's good for everyone, or do people prefer something else? Should we do a doodle poll? What do people think?
Thursday
Madam Chair.
could work for me.
I don't know that it works any better or worse than any other day, as long as I know, the further I know in advance, the more I can protect against it. So yeah, I'm fine with the third Monday of the month if that works for everybody.
Mostly good there. I also serve as the City Council's ex officio member of the Utility Service Board, although that is a non-voting role, and they have meetings at the same time Monday, well, overlapping on Mondays, starting at 5, but it's every other Monday, typically. So essentially we'll end up with sometimes a conflict, sometimes not a conflict. But I think mostly I can probably just navigate that appropriately and or ask a colleague to attend Utility Service Board, since again, it's a non-voting role in that board, and it's also okay to catch up via meeting minutes and that kind of thing from time to time. So I think I'm good. Sorry, just noting that conflict.
Works for me as well.
And one of the many good things about being retired is my schedule is very flexible. It works for me as well.
It's not terrible for me. I was just wondering if, about the December meetings, do you not have a lot of business in December? Could first or second Monday of the month be more advantageous since it's earlier in the month and it's likely to run into holidays?
I would say that I have never seen a meeting in December be productive, so that's why we pre-canceled it. But we are we're happy to have it. And again, this agenda does not have to be set in stone at this meeting. We can do an ad hoc kind of agenda setting if you'd like.
Could I also ask that we inquire of a certain member of the public who's in the audience tonight who may be named the 8th member of the commission, if he could let us know? I see that he says thumbs up. He's pretty good with third Monday. It looks like most people are okay with it.
Okay.
I move that we hold our next meeting July 21st at 5:30.
My second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Flaherty.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Strasburg.
Yes.
Connell. McKinney.
Yes.
And Volin.
Yes? And?
You didn't ask me, but yes.
Oh, sorry, drumming. I thought I started with you. My apologies. I think I was supposed to. Okay, so I think that is all we had, but there's plenty of time open for discussion. If you have any further questions, or if you would like to go to public comment, there are 3 members of the public here. I'll leave that up to you. That would be, traditionally, that would be the last item on the agenda, so. If there are any members, oh, there's also online. I'm so sorry. I forgot I was running this meeting on Zoom, too. Okay, so there are members online. If any member of the public in council chambers would like to come speak, they can come up to the podium and speak. If you are online, you can message the meeting host, Ryan Roebling, or you can raise your hand and I will call on you if you'd like to speak. I'm not seeing anyone online. If you would like to. And then if you would, please state your name and sign in when you get a chance.
I'm Paul Russo, Bloomington resident. I really just have one question. Do the rules that you just adopted allow for public comment on modifying those rules? Because I read the draft rules and I have a lot of problems with them. But if I can come back and speak to it later, then that's no, I don't have to talk about it right now. Yes or no, I guess, because it's kind of unclear about public comment in the draft rules.
That's a fair question.
We don't have rules, so we might as well,
Well-
you know, we don't know.
We actually do have a rule, so hang on, I'm sorry. The specifically adopted a rule that would not allow open discourse with the public, but a member of the commission can adopt or take on that question themselves and ask staff, which I assume that you all want to do. Okay, yes, you can definitely give comment. If you would like to send the comment ahead of time, we can have that and kind of prepare a response, or if you would like to make the comment at the next meeting, totally fine.
I'll do that. Thank you very much.
He doesn't actually want to comment? I don't follow. Did you not want to comment on the rules?
I thought I was just given the opportunity to send comments for your next meeting. And
Yeah.
that would be better.
We would like to hear you as well as read from you. So if you'd like to say something now.
Okay, off the top of my head, Article 1, Section I seems very broad about non-financial bias. Like you could drive a truck through it. You could say that somebody who has a bias about bicycling shouldn't be considered for this bicycling proposal, or someone who has mobility impairment shouldn't be considered for this access proposal, because they have an inherent bias in how they see things. But we all have bias. I would recommend getting rid of that part of the Section I, but leaving the financial intact. I would also like to see more opportunity for public input in the rules. I remember a year ago, before the City Common Council changed their rules, it used to be 5 minutes per person at Common Council meetings. Your rules that you just adopted allow only 3 minutes. I would like to see 5. I'm hoping that the requirements for submitting an inquiry don't become too onerous. They seem prodigious, the way I read it. That might become an impediment for people participating if they have to jump through too many hoops. Off the top of my head, that's all I have. Thank you.
Does staff have any response to, does staff have any response to his comments?
We're open to discussion. Article 1I, Section I, is, I believe, lifted from Plan Commission's rules. So that is a standard rule, but we're open to changing it. Most commissions don't have a...
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What's that?
Where was the rule from? I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, sorry. I believe that rule was lifted mostly unchanged from Plan Commission's rules. So we're open to changing it. Most commissions don't have a similar rule. It was just kind of where we started the template from.
As somebody who did a lot of ethics work for the city, I don't read the term bias. It's quite the same way. I think somebody with a disability can participate in these meetings. They can still be impartial. I don't have a concern about that myself.
Could I just ask that staff send out a link to or a copy of the current working bylaws of the Plan Commission, since this was adapted from those laws, and we can get a sense of how, practically speaking, those rules work?
Great idea, and absolutely.
That'd be useful.
Okay, we have two members online with the hands raised. I'll first go to Wendy. If you could state your first and last name, and then I'll give you all 3 minutes to speak.
Could you go ahead and do Eric first?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Eric, state your first and last name, and then you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Ost, and I'm pleased that you're taking input on the rules and procedures. I wish you would have done so before approving them. Of course, you can amend them in the future, but I think that this points out one thing that I wanted to highlight is that I think some of the points of I don't know, Mr. Roebling referred to prior meetings. I think that accountability and transparency are important, and I hope that this commission can highlight, prioritize those goals, make those a priority. Speaking specifically to the rules and procedures, I noticed one of them says, as soon as possible, a summary of minutes of the proceeding shall be made available to each member of the commission. I would have proposed that just say shall be made available, which would include both members of the commission, but also the public. I trust that minutes will be produced and made public, but this particular item says as soon as possible, a summary will be provided to members of the commission, or to each member of the commission, excuse me. So I would just add "and to the public" to that, or just publish them, make them available as soon as possible. The other thing I would request, I looked and it was not clear to me whether these meetings were going to be added as a routine matter to the Community Access Television Services meeting archive. Traffic Commission meetings were, I believe, added to the archive and covered. And I would request that, given the importance of the proceedings of this body, that it be elevated to a similar status as the Plan Commission, so that ideally they could be covered live, but certainly that recordings would be added to the CATS archive as soon as possible, ideally by the next day. I may have other comments, and I can provide those in writing and during future meetings, but I appreciate all your service. Thank you.
Okay, Wendy, you should be able to unmute. If you could state your first and last name, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, yes. My name is Wendy Brisht, and I read the rules, not in great depth, but I did go through them. And I just, I found them a little stiff as far as, a little discouraging, as far as public input, as far as inquiries. There's a lot of people, I mean, we are experts in our own experiences of the transportation that we, that we experience every day. And I think that it's an important input, and I wish it weren't so difficult. It looks extremely difficult, and I think it will discourage very many people who do need consideration. And I'm wondering if that could be greatly simplified for people to bring up issues and problems. Let's see. And I also, 3 minutes is rarely long enough, I've found. And we have a very educated public. We have people that are experts in transportation. We have people with things to say, and it would be nice to have a little bit longer to say them. It really is a short time, especially for people who aren't used to speaking in public. And I also, just for the relationship between the government and the residents, I think there has been some difficulty and frustration, and I would love to see residents whose lives will be impacted by the decisions that you're making be included early on, so that you understand how they feel about things. And instead of hearing, well, the money is spent, the decision's already made, now you can have your public comment, but it won't really be taken, nothing will be done about it, which is, I think people get very discouraged. And I think you have a really good opportunity here to involve people in planning that really will impact their lives. And I hope that you take that seriously. I think that's a big deal, is for just the residents that I have spoken to. Anyway, and so yeah, if the rules could be made less rigid, and maybe so that there is maybe more time. I've probably taken way more than 3 minutes for people, and to include the public as a good resource, and not as kind of a an obstacle to be overcome. That would be great. Anyway, it's nice to hear you all and meet you all, and looking forward to you doing a great job for Bloomington and its drivers, as well as everybody else, we hope. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have one new hand. Betty Rose Nagel, I will call on you if you could state your name and unmute, and then you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, my name is Betty Rose Nagel. As I listen to this, and the principle of uniting all the various transportation-related commissions in one, it reminds me of DOGE. It reminds me of DOGE in that it prioritizes efficiency. And I don't think efficiency is always as effective as it might sound like it is. For example, the Hawthorne-Weatherstone Greenway was imposed on us. Lots of input. We weren't really listened to, I don't think. And I would dare anyone to take a walk on Hawthorne south, starting at First and walking south, maybe even at Second and walking it south, and be able to say that what I have said repeatedly, namely that the traffic on that stretch of road, typically at any given moment, on any given day, season, whatever, is 0 cars going 0 miles an hour. I do not see how the fairly efficient way of getting that done was an effective use of money. I think it was a waste of money. I think it was a way of ramrodding an ideological idea that really didn't suit that particular stretch of road. And if that is going to be done even more easily than when there was a bike ped commission, which I will say was not a bike ped commission. It was a bike commission. If there was a way to use pedestrians to leverage something that cyclists wanted, we were just fine. But I never felt, even for the brief period of time I was on the commission, that pedestrians really mattered for very much. The money that was spent on the Hawthorne-Weatherstone Greenway could have been spent on, well, some of the dangerous intersections that Greg Alexander talks about, or given that I walk a lot in my neighborhoods, on repairing and adding sidewalks. They are a mess. And I will just end on that note. Please, whether you're going to be efficient, whether you're going to be one, you are obviously going to be one commission. If you are going to be one commission, do, in addition to parking and safety for one and all, do give consideration to sidewalks. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. If anyone else in chambers or online would like to speak, make your presence known. Online, if you raise your virtual hand, I will call on you. In chambers, just come on up to the podium. Okay, I am not seeing any. If anyone else on the commission has anything else to add, now's the time. Oh, go ahead.
Keep forgetting the mic. Could you give the email again if members of the public want to send comments about the rules, how they can reach you and make those suggestions?
Yes, absolutely. First, I will say that the Transportation Commission has a website online. We will, this gave me an idea, we'll make a form that's an open access form, so you'll just be able to fill it out there. But also, if you want to email me directly, roblingr@bloomington.in.gov. That is ROBLINGR@bloomington.in.gov. I'll get that and make sure that the commission members receive those.
I'd just like to say that since several of us didn't really have a chance to study the proposed rules, I, for one, voted for them for the sake of convenience, knowing that we could amend them. I plan to study the rules and submit proposed amendments in order to perhaps expedite those amendments if anybody else. I would like to ask every other member to study the bylaws we just adopted, and let's amend them in one fell swoop at the beginning of the next meeting. Happy to receive any proposals from other members, and frankly from members of the public. I was encouraged by the ideas I heard tonight in public comment about the rules, and would like to get the rules right. I also think that maybe our rules are not going to be quite the same as Plan Commission, even though I see that this is the vision for this commission among staff is clearly modeled on Plan Commission, and I don't discourage that. But I think that we may need to consider doing things a little bit differently than them. And so one size doesn't fit all, and we really should adopt rules that work for this commission. So with that, I would encourage everyone to send suggestions to Mr. Roebling, and he can forward them to me until I can figure out which email it is that you all are sending stuff to, because, like I said, I didn't get it before. It took a while to receive the link that was sent to me tonight, so I think there's a problem with my email. Anyway, thank you for that, and I look forward to hearing from other members about how we should conduct our business. Thank you.
Okay, if there is nothing else, I'll give my email one more time just in case. ROBLINGR, ROBLINGR @bloomington.in.gov. Send any thoughts and comments about the rules or the commission in general, and I'll make sure the commission members get that. We'll also, on the Transportation Commission webpage, have a form that you can complete, so you don't have to email me directly, and we'll make sure that the commission members get that. And with that, we don't have any other agenda items. Unless anyone has any questions, I'll give a brief pause.
First, I want to thank everybody, and I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, and this one can, oh, no, we have a member virtual. I think it's just adjourned. We don't have any more agenda items, so we're done. We'll see you July 21st right here in council chambers at 5:30. Thank you.